This module will focus on what happens during an active shooter attack. It is important to understand how to respond to an active shooter attack and keeping people safe. An active shooter attack can happen either in or outside the event. As a patron leader, it is your responsibility to react to the situation and get people to safety as soon as possible. Throughout this module, we will discuss what happens during an active shooter attack and how an active shooter event have affected actual events, games, and stuff like that. From there, you'll learn what to do before, during, and after an active shooter attack. Understanding the importance of an active shooter can help limit the risk of potential injury by knowing the steps of an evacuation plan and getting people to safety. This module will provide you with the foundational knowledge to respond to active shooter attacks within venues, process of the evacuation getting people to safety, and the challenges and issues faced when monitoring crowds during a dangerous situation. We have several learning objectives. They include 1, appreciate how shooters have affected events. 2, understand what happens during an active shooter attack. 3, know how to respond before, during, and after a shooting. And number 4, identify steps in the evacuation or shelter-in-place process. There will be a number of potential exam questions that we could think about while you're listening to the video, such as what is an active shooter? What are the steps in the evacuation during an active shooter incident? What are 3 steps that Department of Homeland Security recommends during an active shooter incident? And what are signs of a potential shooter that you can spot as a patron leader? Now, it is important to know that as we go into this, this is a very sensitive topic. In our country, we've had a number of issues over the last couple of years where people have unfortunately died from the acts of sometimes crazy people, sometimes people with vendettas, sometimes terrorists. There's a wide variety of different issues. And it is a very sensitive topic. It is something that we wish we didn't have to discuss. We wish you would never have to face this. But an active shooter situation can occur at any given workplace, at any given school, at any given church or synagogue or mosque or any other institution. So what we're going to be discussing today is very sensitive, but it's something that if you can leverage the knowledge you'll learn from this module, it can help you not just as a patron leader, but in all facets of your life going forward. So think about it from that perspective. It's a sensitive topic, a topic we wish we never would have to cover, but it's a necessary topic in this day and age. Here are some terms to know. Active shooter. An active shooter is an individual engaged in killing or attempting to kill or harm people in a confined and or populated area. An intruder. An intruder is someone who is in a place or situation where they are not invited or wanted. Tactic. It's a strategic plan or action planned to achieve a specific results. Those are the 3 primary terms that we're going to have. There have been way too many active shooter cases the last couple of years. 2 infamous examples include Aurora Theater shooting during the screening of Dark Knight Rises, a Batman movie in 2012, where 12 people were killed. A second one was a Las Vegas Route 91 music festival shooting in 2017, where 60 people were killed. Those are just 2 examples. What happens during an active shooter attack? During the Las Vegas shooting, which occurred on October 1st, 2017, the perpetrator was a 64-year-old man who opened fire on the crowd attending the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas, Nevada. Jason Aldean was performing the final act on the final day of the festival before an unprecedented turn in events resulted in the festival ending early. If you want to watch a great expose video, there is one, and we're going to put the link here for you to see. It's very disturbing, but it's something you can watch if you're interested. You will observe some red flags that were not noticed by staff members of the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, and this is sometimes the case of Monday morning quarterbacking after an incident, saying you should have seen this or you should have seen that. As a patron leader, it is hard to predict when an active shooter attack might happen. It is your duty to understand and be on the lookout for any signs that may indicate an active shooter attack might happen. The following points are some background information in understanding the person and situation. Most incidents occur without warning. There may be leakage. The first indication of an active shooter is when the shooting starts. But you might not know that, or you might have some of this leakage, some precursor. Often the shooter has some knowledge or familiarity with the building or location. They might have scoped it out in advance. People may be targeted indiscriminately, or the shooter may seek specific victims. The shooter's goal is to kill as many people as quickly as possible. A shooter may shoot at victims from a distance, acting as a sniper. The shooter may employ some type of diversion, such as an explosive device or fire, to draw victims into the open or out of a given area. And most active shooter events are over within 10 to 15 minutes. The unprecedented event of an active shooter attack can happen within a split second. We have seen multiple events that involve split-second decisions to help save people from being severely injured or killed. An active shooter is an individual engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. These attacks can happen at places such as concerts, sport venues, and other highly organized events within a large crowd. Although this module focuses on active shooter, some alternate events that can cause mass casualties include individuals operating motor vehicles to cause harm and ramming people, individuals using homemade bombs, other mass attacks that include knives, fire, drones, and other weapons. So it's not just shooters. It is important to be aware of any unwanted or suspicious activity or unattended belongings that may disrupt or postpone an event. Here are some strategies that can help you as a patron leader. Stay alert. Be aware of your surroundings and any possible dangers. As a patron leader, you should do these 4 things to help you stay alert. Look high, look low, look for bulky clothing or anything like that that's suspicious, and look at people's expression. Is a person acting suspicious? Are they wearing inappropriate clothing, such as coats during the middle of summertime? These are some questions that may arise. Next, if you see something, say something. Report any suspicious activity that may occur to any local authority, a first responder, a supervisor, or your command center. They can help assess the situation. These can include any situations such as suspicious behavior, taking photos of unusual areas around a facility, inappropriate communication, or unattended belongings. The next strategy is to observe warning signs. Warning signs can increase within minutes. Some of these signs may include expressed anger, someone getting really frustrated or upset, substance abuse, or an intent to cause harm, where someone might say they want to harm other people. Some ways to observe these issues include people showing inappropriate behavior, someone pacing back and forth. Those are things that we want to look for. The next strategy is to have an exit plan. Identify all emergency exits or areas to take cover and or hide. What do you do next? Communicate with the supervisor. Make sure they know what's going on and you know what they want you to do. Listen for existing direction or shelter-in-place orders. This could be over the radio or maybe over the public address system. Learn life-saving skills, the next strategy. Understand some of the important CPR medical training that can help those who are wounded before help arrives. In this module, you have gained background knowledge about the active shooter and examples of events where the situation has occurred. As a patron leader, it is important to know and understand what to do before, during, and after an active shooter attack. Before an attack. Before an attack, you want to understand the environment, be aware of your surroundings, especially exits, hiding spots and things like that. Be on the lookout for any unwanted activity. Observe people's behavior and expressions. Report any unwanted activity that can prevent the situation from happening. Those are all things you want to be looking for. How about during an incident? The natural human reaction may be startling, anxiety, and feeling of fear or disbelief. The best way to overcome these emotions is by keeping your composure. If you're startled, that's natural, but keep your composure. Know your training and execute. That will help you out so much in these kind of situations. 1, understanding the training management has provided you. Number 2, monitor your areas. 3, help answer questions. Assist those who are in need to safety becomes part of that. And then take cover to hide once your section is evacuated. How about what to do after an event? After an active shooter event, wait for clearance from first responders, supervisors, or public announcements. You want to assist people who are injured. You want to make sure all people listen to announcements made during events. Patron leaders must convey appropriate message to those around them. Take down names of people if they were separated from their group or family. Then want to assist first responders in securing the area as soon as possible. Next, we go to identify steps in the evacuation and shelter-in-place process. Remember, not all the time will you be running out of a venue. You might have to stay in a venue. When an active shooter event occurs, knowing and identifying the steps of evacuating and or taking shelter can help people and yourself to safety. Homeland Security's action plan implements the run, hide, and fight tactic. It should be noted that PLs need to try and get the patrons in their area to follow these rules as much as possible. The PL can also follow these rules and best practice. Your responsibility as a PL is to protect others first, and that indirectly protects the PL, yourself, as well. So let's go to the first one, run. Use any accessible path to evacuate or get out of the direct line of fire. Identify any escape route and plan. Run in a zigzag pattern. That's to hopefully avoid getting shot. Make sure you leave your belongings behind. Help others escape. Prevent individuals from running back into the event or facility, no matter how good their reason might be. Keep hands visible to protect you from unwanted friendly fire from people that might be trying to take down the shooter. Follow instructions from the police and do not move anyone who is wounded. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try to treat them, just don't move them. The hide category. From run, hide, this is the hide area. Make sure you are out of the active shooter's view. Find protection if shots are fired in your direction. This could be behind a seat, in the concourse entryway, behind concession carts, in the bathroom, etc. Find a spot that will not restrict your movement or make you feel trapped. Lock any doors to rooms that you are in. Block the door with heavy items. Silence any device, including phones, radios, televisions, or whatever. And stay low to the ground as much as possible. The last category after run and hide is to fight. Fight is the last possible step you want to take, but it's to take action only when needed. It is not expected that you as a patron leader will be a hero. You could throw items to distract or disrupt the shooter. You could use improvised weapons such as weights, bats, chairs, or any other item that can be used against the active shooter. You can yell, scream, poke, scratch, bite, whatever it is, that's all part of fighting. You also want to commit to your action. Is it your life or theirs? Fight like your life is the most important thing and you're going to fight tooth and nail to protect yourself and others. Spread out and attack from different angles is another strategy for fighting. Homeland Security provides these tactics for active shooter attacks. As Patron Leader, it is your responsibility to make sure people in your area seek shelter as quickly as possible. That's the most important facet to look at. Here are some other evacuation steps that you as a Patron Leader can take. Understand where the attack is coming from. Is it internal or external to the venue? Keep your composure during the situation and remember the evacuation plan that management provided. The plan was developed for a very specific reason. It's probably the best strategy. Quickly direct people to the nearest evacuation exit. Oftentimes it's yelling or pointing in that direction. Be careful where you are going during the attack. You don't want to go towards a shooter, especially if there's two. Avoid congested areas, and most importantly, take cover when necessary. So in conclusion, during this module, we've learned the following. What happens during an active shooter attack and some examples of attacks such as the Las Vegas shooting, breaking out during the event, and there have been issues during, before, and after events. Understand strategies that Patron Leaders can use to identify an active shooter or a dangerous situation. You've learned how to respond to an active shooter, such as run, hide, or fight tactics. And you've learned about evacuation steps. And you as a Patron Leader can use those steps during an active shooter attack to get you and patrons to safety. I hope you never have to utilize this module in your real life, but we know things are going to happen. And the more you can protect yourself, the better it's going to be for you and the venue. So let's stay safe out there and take a couple of the quiz questions that we have at the end of this video and understand that we hopefully will have one or two of these questions also on the exam module for the Certificate of Patron Management after you've watched 10 videos and reached out to the administrators of the Certificate of Patron Management program to have access to the exam. Take care and be safe, everyone. Bye.